Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today we're taking a look at the Diamond Select Invincible action figures. But to talk about these, I'm gonna have to have... Check the side, check the back, little read up for each character on here. You can pause it here, you can pause it here, you can pause it here. Other side. Bottom of the box where I like to see a credit call out for all the fine folks involved, but instead they're gonna mention their company Diamond Select Toys like 5 times on there. Let's get away from these boxes. Starting off our look at these fine figures with the titular hero's progenitor, the powerful Viltrumite known as Nolan. He has been many things in his day: husband, father, conqueror, and now action figure. Getting closer, they absolutely nail this overall look. Nice, clean, consistent, decent paintwork. The proportions are just right. Bulky arms, legs, nothing overdone. The cape has got this nice molded detail. It's nailed down, but it's a little malleable, a little stiffer than like a Marvel Legend or something. The detail on the head, the face there is just fantastic. It's simpler, sort of like the animated series. You got other little lines though around the neck and stuff. They're a little muddy. You got some misses here on this stripe down the front, but it is fairly consistent. They've sculpted those lines. Sometimes they set themselves up doing that, you know. This is not sculpted here, but it's painted fairly cleanly. Same thing down with the boots. It's just sort of a mirrored color scheme. Otherwise, like I said, proportionally, I think he looks really nice. You're going to have some visible pins. You're going to have some peg holes on the bottoms of the feet, and even a little peg hole on the small of the back there. There's not much more to him than this, but he's already got a great shelf presence. As far as articulation, that is not often Diamond Select's strong suit. Even still, you have this head on a little barbell joint. You get a good amount of tilt for attitude there. You can look down a little bit, but back hardly any, which is kind of disappointing for a flying character. Shoulders are socketed in right here, and they look pretty clean, pretty tight. They will rotate all the way around. You have this nice sculpted bicep cut that also rotates. A single jointed elbow that only hits about a 90. Wrists are hinged in and out. The ones on Nolan here, they come in and out fairly easily. They'll almost fall out of there. If you shake that, he'll fall off of it. So that's a little, but at least it works. Coming down here to the torso, we only have this one point of articulation here, a little diaphragm cut, and you get a little bit of range out of that. Hardly any forward. Hardly any back. It's almost nothing. That's kind of silly. Down here though, you get this like ultra deluxe thing happening with the legs, as they will come all the way out here, completely unnecessary. You could see they've opted for this style of articulation. They'll kick forward this far, back not at all, because this is just this hard line sculpted right there. But he does have what's a mid-thigh cut, which will rotate, which is nice, even though we just have a single-jointed knee that doesn't even hit 90, and there's no swivel or anything because of the way it's designed. But you do have these feet. They will come back this far, forward this far, and the ankles will rock. Real quick, we'll do him up like such, get the arms forward, get the legs back, but you can't get that head yet. See, it pops right off. There's your little joint there. You've even got the little knobs on it. No reason for that. Get this sucker back on. Yeah. Pretty tight. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at more just like an intimidating, he can just kind of hover, glare at you.
Were you rushing or dragging?
It'll be a lot of that. That's how he'll be living on my shelf, something like that. The posing is fairly there, especially all the unnecessary leg stuff, but it's just that's pretty limiting, not being able to do that. Up next is Alan, the one-eyed Unopan space monster, specially bred for his physical prowess. Can't quite top a Viltrumite, but let's throw him a bone anyway. Okay, getting closer to the action, I gotta lay a couple things on you. I've been trying to get this video together for a minute. Life has been a little difficult, okay, but then I broke the stand for Invincible, little burned out, hated the stuff I filmed, threw it out, started again, broke the head on Alan, the head peg, man, just trying to swap it. This is outrageous. Diamond Select, these are really neat, on the surface, but the stuff, the articulation and the swappable parts, it's not their strong suit. And, I'm suffering for it a little bit. Be really careful with your figures. This was honestly, I had pulled the one off and just trying to put it back on there. I was pushing so hard enough to pop it back on the ball, and it just folded instead. And so that's really a pain. I'm going to reach out to the company and see what they can do. It's not like I'm some noob or some freak here. I've been doing this a very long time, and I've never snapped a head peg before, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Do better, guys. So anyway, the show must go on. You can see here, they really have nailed this likeness. And in the simplicity there, you don't have any like contour lines. So it's all, I mean, that pupil, if you get real close, you can see it's painted up onto the lid, and little things like that you can see are less than perfect. But otherwise, I think that the proportions are really nice. He's got that beefy upper body, the kind of smooth look that matches that animation. He also has a peg hole on the small of his back, peg holes on the bottoms of his crazy alien feet while we're there.
That beats in it, alien.
And I really do like the simple, clean look of these figures. You're going to have more single joints. Cool sculpted detail on the belt here. Special alien pouches and such. Usually that's never where they're slipping. These are all sculpted by Chris Dahlberg, and I think they really nail that. Anyway, let's check out the articulation. The head is on this little barbell joint here, and it would rock side to side. It doesn't look back for anything, down just a little bit, and in fact, it snaps right off if you push on it. Shoulders are socketed in here, just like Nolan. They will rotate around. You get that nice hinge in there, so they'll come up to a 90. I don't know if I showed you that there. Why wouldn't I? It's the same deal. Sculpted bicep cut. Looks pretty nice, pretty tight. Bring that sucker back down. You got a single jointed elbow here, though. It hits that 90. And you have these hinged wrists. They're not going to fall out like Nolan's, but they do work pretty well. Same deal with the 1 point of torso articulation. It definitely works a little better. He can actually crunch forward some, not back though. Little bit of side to side. Legs also doing the same crazy thing. They won't. Oh no. They're on a little ball there, so they won't come quite out to the side because they're hitting up there. If you push that too hard, it's either going to break or pop off. Comes forward this far. It doesn't move back because it's got the same butt shelf, and you get that mid-thigh cut that will rotate. You got the single jointed knee that only affords you the 90 without any kind of swivel. You got the foot though that does this and rocks famously. These are fairly well articulated for Diamond figures. I want to see more in that torso, and I don't want the freaking heads to break. Finally, we have the title character and our favorite friend, Mark Grayson, Invincible. Overall, I love the simple, iconic design, the clean colors, and the big Image Comics logo that's stamped right on him. How dare Mr. Kirkman. White face with a brown nose, getting close to this little haircut here. Nice little sculpted line work in there, a little sheen on it, but otherwise no extra detail, no extra colors there. I don't like the sort of like eggshell eyes. That could have had some kind of lens like sheen, would have been cool. But you get the ears there and this sculpted little mouth, little tight mouth. You can see as you get closer, these lines are sculpted and they're just a little sloppy, but from a distance you can't really tell. I really do like this costume design though, and the colors, the way the blue and the yellow play off of each other. I mean, that's color theory stuff. Look at Wolverine's costume. It's just like that. And you know, the design flourishes, like the fingerless gloves here he's got, and the boots with the knee pad. It doesn't have those little slices on the sides though, which is not necessary anyway. That was they reworked that. Little feet, little peg holes, and then he's got another. He also has the hole on the small of his back there. Sadly, my favorite character here, but I think the proportions aren't quite there. The arms seem a little small and even a little short where they land compared to everything else. Also, it's kind of skinny here, which is appropriate, but I think it looks a little bit off is all. Previously, though, they've only ever done one figure before this, two of them technically a bloody variant. They were McFarlane Toys, 5-inch scale, these are 7-inch. What are either of those scales, man? 6-inch, come on. Otherwise, from certain angles, I think they nail the likeness. But just vanilla pose straight on, you can kind of see the arms are a little funny and the torso's a little, Checking out that articulation. It's going to have the head in the same way. And it's probably the worst one of all. It barely moves at all. You can't even rock it up or down and have it stay. It just, that's its range. Really, that's the head range. Lame. It will, of course, rotate. I don't know if I've showed that before. It's what they do. Shoulders, though, they're pegged in. They won't quite come up to a 90, though, the way that is. But it does keep this nice, clean line there. That's neat. Of course, they rotate. You have that same bicep cut. The same single-jointed elbow here with the visible pin. Coming up to a 90. Wrists are pegged in, and they will hinge thusly and thusly. They rotate. They pull out fairly easily, but as they get smaller, they get more delicate, of course, so be a little bit careful. This is like a harder plastic ring on the peg there, so it can snap and separate. Torso articulation, just the single piece. One of the worst ones is it's got this tiniest bit of crunch forward, almost no back. You can shift side to side just a little. It will rotate some, but mostly, sure, you don't want to break up. You don't want to break up that big eye like that. It's iconic. Come on. Legs doing this crazy thing again, coming way out to the side. Nobody asked for that, but thank you anyway. Coming forward like this, and these ones do come back because he's got no butt at all. It's just like the front butt. Halfway here in the thigh, you have a cut that spins all the way around, single jointed knee. And the foot that goes back, that goes like this, that rocks like this. They all have the same articulation, and it all works, a little bit mostly. They're fairly nicely articulated for Diamond Select figures, quite honestly. But
single joints are whack.
You're not going to be able to get the most basic flying poses for your flying characters, because not only can the torso not come back, but the head can't come back either. So it's like that, and it's like that, and it's lame. But you can do these nice, more menacing, hovering poses.
Rushing or dragging?
Guys will be doing lots of hovering, you know what I mean? He can box a little. We'd always like to see butterfly shoulders. But again, flying characters, man. Make sure that head comes back. I wonder if you notch your own figure, if you can make some more room for that. It's really tight, though. That ball just has no range the way they have that. You could almost Dremel some out of there, depending on the receiving ball down there. I don't know. Let's see what else they came with. Checking out the accessories, he comes with an extra head and several extra sets of hands. Getting closer, we got this nice angry head, just as nicely detailed as the other one. The thing is, and this is true across all the figures, the heads are very, very difficult to swap. They come off somewhat easily, but it is a big and knobby ball, which is completely unnecessary. That's something you put little knobs maybe on legs and such so that they don't end up loose. But it's a different system here, so it doesn't apply. They just wanted to put knobs on something, so they put them on here. And you have to push incredibly hard to put this back on here. In fact, so hard I snapped the peg on Alan. Not fair at all. They're just not this isn't as commonplace for them as it is with some other companies. And so
you do know the difference.
A little more work. I don't want to spend all day on that. You guys understand. He's got some what have I done hands here, some open hands. You can put them on fairly easily. These ones, especially on Omni-Man, they come in and out really, really easily. Comes with this funny little stand. You plug into the small of his back, and it's got a foot peg on it, but it's right in line with the thing. So that makes that a little awkward. I'm not sure what exactly they intend there. Do whatever you like with that thing. He also comes with a set of flying hands, which again are a moot point because his head can't kick back for that. The fists that we've already seen. And then he comes with a hand holding a baseball. Very nicely detailed. And a catcher's mitt. Again, same deal, just the one color of paint, but they've got all that nice sculpt work on it. Accessories for Alan. He is the most well-stocked of the bunch. He does come from slightly later in the line. It's going to be a whole mess of hands with the same nice, simple level of detail and nice sculpt all over all of them. But you've got closed fists, relaxed open hands. And these all come as a mirrored set, so we'll just show off one of each. Pointer. Relaxed graspers. Tighter grabbing hands. And then, of course, these slightly more open ones that he is wearing there. Two heads, including the one that we have seen, the more neutral expression, as well as the slightly more puzzled expression with the raised eyebrow. And, of course, this is where I snapped the head peg. So it's in that one. It's in that one. How inconvenient. Alan also comes with his little data pad. You can see really nice detail, legible there. And he even comes with a little trio of sequids.
Careful, they're brittle.
Detail on these. And this one, of course, fits right over people's heads. And then you get a couple of more casual, splayed creatures. And that same silly stand that we saw with Nolan. I love that they offer the stuff. I wish they could work on the viability of it. Wait. I was forgetting my favorite accessory. The cans lock. Little dish he comes with here. Little detail. It's just the one color, but they've got little faces. They're screaming. Horrified at being such a delicious delicacy. Okay, accessories for Invincible. And look, I thought I was past all this. This is crazy. Way back when I started, the first thing that I broke, he comes with an actual flight stand. Oh, yeah, that's what we were getting to. Anyway, the flight stand fits in the small of the back very tightly. So be really careful with that. Try not to adjust the figure too much on there because that little peg will break inside of there. I had that happen with this one. I was able to remove it with pliers and I just plugged it into here. It's just an extender piece, so I didn't really need it. But it's a little unfortunate. I could have been more careful, I suppose. Just now, I was going to swap it to the alternate head to show that, and I had swapped before. But not only are they difficult to replace, Mark's was very difficult to remove. Just pulling it straight up, not twisting, not going crazy. And it tore the head peg. I mean, this was just a minute ago. Almost defeated me again, man, but I've got to push through. This is ridiculous. I guess I just find one head I like and these look okay, and if you want them, don't swap the heads. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Anyway, he comes with extra sets of hands, an odd number of them anyway. Flight hands that again are a moot point because the head doesn't look back. It just breaks right off. Comes with this other head that doesn't matter because you can't swap them. Same nice simple level of detail. He comes with a couple of open hands. I really like the detail on these. It really smacks of like the Ryan Ottley comic art. The way those fingers are done. Comes with the little catcher's mitt. Same nice level of detail as Nolan's. Not a lot of extra paint. He comes with a baseball with a little flight effect attached here, and it's even got a peg hole on it. I'm not really sure what that's about. He only comes with this stand. You know what I'm saying? Like are you supposed to peg this on here? It doesn't matter. Silly. And then it comes with a little individual baseball, which is rad and can even be like wedged into one of these grasping hands. Yeah, look at that. The hands are cool. Invincibles are a little smaller. They're a little more brittle. This peg with the ring piece is a harder plastic and the hand is softer. So this could potentially snap. I think the complement of stuff here is appropriate and an actual flight stand is cool, but this one is overly complex. It's loose. You need to constantly tighten these screws with a small screwdriver, and those pegs fit really, really tightly. Be careful. That one, I would say that's my fault, jerking him around while he was on the peg and it snapped off. But the head thing, man, I was just trying to pull this off and swap it like I have before. Oh, that sucks. All right, here they are together. Relative scale, I think they look pretty good. Nolan might be a little high. I couldn't push that head all the way down for fear of breaking the peg. That's exactly what happened with Alan. Him and Mark's heads are just sitting on the thing now. What is this? Anyway, about 190 centimeters to the top of Nolan's head there. That's nearly 7.5 inches. Swing over to the other side here. You can see Mr. Mark Grayson is hitting right about 7 inches as well with his hairdo. In a 1/10 scale, they're hitting pretty well. Kicking off the comparisons with some animated friends in the same scale, we have the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Animated Series Superman and Batman.
Next up, we got old Al Simmons, looking almost like you remember. And on the right, a real snazzy dresser. It's yours truly, hiding a secret, hiding a body.
And because we all love the Ninja Turtles, right? Here is the NECA Animated Series, Raphael and Casey Jones. You know, those guys would swear these are in the same scale. It's fine. They all look great. Okay, also from Diamond Select Toys, the same company that made these. I was gonna say fine figures, but they're just okay after all this. We have, of course, the classic Colossus and Gambit. Between Two Hulks. That is, of course, the Diamond Select, Marvel Select on the left, and the Hasbro Marvel Legends on the right. Here we have another Diamond Select offering, the Marvel Select Homecoming Spider-Man.
And finally, from McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, Terry McGinnis is Batman Beyond.
Oh, hey! No, I'm kidding. In the interest of fairness here, during Alan's accessory section, I forgot the little dish of Canslock he got. I was just so excited I was parading this thing around everywhere. As much as I love the animated series that these are based on, the Invincible comic series by Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker, Ryan Ottley, Cliff Rathburn, FCO Placencia, all the various colorists, Russ Wooten, letterers, people like this. God, that book was my favorite. It was top of my pull list every month, consistently. That was the thing I was most excited to read, and it never frickin' let me down, man. All the way through. Like 15 years of that book. So frickin' good. But otherwise, you guys have been watching the thing thus far. You've seen where we're at. They're okay. They are part of the evolution of what Diamond Select is doing, but Man, they could use some work on how to swap heads and parts. Get these if you like, but just leave the frickin' heads alone. I don't know. That was really, really disappointing. I'd made it all this way, reshot the thing again, and I was doing the accessories for Invincible again, and I was like, let's swap the head, and it wasn't gonna budge, and I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then the last one, I was like, no, look at that. I could just pop this right off of here, and it just tore. It's like it just... Please help me out. Send me a new Invincible, man. This is wrong. Do me like this. I'm the biggest frickin' fan here. Maybe not the biggest fan of your stuff because of this, man, but the look is there, and, you know, scale-wise with other Diamond Select figures, other Marvel, like, you can have a small Marvel universe. The McFarlane stuff is kind of okay, but his scaling is all over the place, you know. But you could have your Invincible next to a Batman. You want him next to Spider-Man. They crossed over in the comics. Super cool. I hope they address that in the show. Just a little Easter egg, some webbing, you know what I mean. Rights are what they are, but... Anyway, the look of these figures, I think, is really, really close. Invincible, I mean, those arms are a little small, and maybe even, I mean, watching the recent episode of the cartoon, man, he is just Omni-Man is huge. But these really work. It's just the playability thing. They put so much work into the leg articulation. It's just outrageous. He doesn't even need all this, and he can't kick his head back to fly, even though he gets flying hands. And then you can't swap the freaking heads. I'm still afraid to push this one down all the way. It's gonna break. It'll pop back off because it's so, it's so close to the edge.
Breathtaking, really.
But again, I appreciate that you guys are trying with this, but it's just, be very careful. Adult collectibles. Sure they are. Look at how I live here. I'm no slob. I know how to handle my stuff. I'm very good to my stuff. So this is a freak thing, and it just kept happening despite my best efforts. And the best I can do is just push through and put this thing together, and it's just kind of a warning for all of my fine folks out here to just so that you know what you're getting into. You know what I'm saying? As far as Invincible merchandise goes, there really wasn't much. McFarlane created a few figures. And when Diamond started dropping theirs, I was on the fence. As big a fan as I am, it's not necessarily the company I wanted to see with that license. After everything that's happened, I've got to leave it with a big old buyer beware. Always grateful you guys putting up with me. Check out me doing what I do on some of these other videos here. I promise I'm not tearing all the toys in half. But, sometimes, for the sake of it, for the sake of the proper review, you got to put them through their paces. Aww.